Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do you solemnly swear? Support and defend. The Constitution.
Something's coming. Something's coming. Something's coming. Something's coming. Something's coming.
Let the games begin. Come walk in my shoes. I done paid all my dues. I got something to prove. All in, nothing to lose. Right now a new day starts. Woke up my brain heart. Stand up and play my part. Like the crowd waves start. Been patient long enough. Not waiting, I'm bossing up. Life is like a toss up. I tend to triple cross it up. We born to be giant slayers. We shine too bright to shade us or face us. We love the pressure. This what made us.
Something's coming. Something's coming. Something's coming.
Let the games begin. I was born for this. From day one I wanted it. We come too far to quit. Ain't no stopping it. I was born for this. From day one I wanted it. We come too far to quit. Ain't no stopping it. Ain't no stopping it. Time to rise up. Time to rise up. Time to rise up. Time to rise up. So let's go crazy, crazy like Prince in the 1980s. Don't play me, I'm not Brady. Too blown, you can't deflate me. Yes, ballin' is my calling. Can't box me out, I'm all in. We built from, yes, all in. Top of the charts and never falling. It's time, beast mode. Put it on the line, free throws. It's Friday, I'm Debo. Take it back like repo. Got on my headphones, eyes closed in my zone. I've been down this road every time I drove it home. Then set back up again like it's 1st and 10. Only aim to win, let the games begin. I was born for this, from day one I wanted it. We come too far to quit, ain't no stopping it. I was born for this, from day one I wanted it. We come too far to quit, ain't no stopping it. Ain't no stopping it, ain't no stopping it, ain't no stopping it. Let the games begin.
Hey you, can I learn your flavor? It's brand new. Now it's
Alex Trebek.
Thanks, Johnny, and welcome, players. Nice of you to join again. We missed you. Let's start the Jeopardy round.
Our first category is Drink Up. It's Thirst Day. A classic Manhattan combines whiskey or bourbon with Angostura bitters and the sweet variety of this fortified wine.
Repeat.
Again, the
Yeah, hand
category is Drink Up. It's Thirst Day. A classic Manhattan combines whiskey or bourbon with Angostura bitters and the sweet variety of this fortified wine.
Vermouth? What is
Please
vermouth?
respond in the form of a question, starting with phrases like, who is or what is?
What is vermouth?
Excellent. Today's second Jeopardy category is Geography. Yemen borders the Gulf of Aden and this sea.
Alexa, repeat.
Again, the category is Geography. Yemen borders the Gulf of Aden and this sea.
Go ahead. What
Please
is?
respond in the form of a question, starting with phrases like, who is or what is?
What is the Nile?
No.
Yeah.
It was the.
No, that's incorrect. The correct response was what is the Red Sea?
I knew it
Your
was
third
biblical.
Jeopardy
I knew it was
category
in there.
is Channel, that abbreviation. The Oval and American Soul are shows on this channel abbreviated BET.
What is black Entertainment.
Television.
Good job. Your next category is facts and figures. It's the only even prime number.
Repeat.
Again, the category is facts and figures. It's the only even prime number.
What is 2?
Yeah.
You're right. Today's fifth category is ye old. The response starts with Y, E. Coined in the 1930s, this term for the abominable snowman is from the language of the Sherpas.
What is Yeti?
Please respond in the form of a question, starting with phrases like, who is or what is?
What is Yeti?
You're right. The last Jeopardy category is story of myth. A scorned Eris caused discord by starting a fight for a golden apple among Aphrodite, Athena, and this wife of Zeus.
Repeat.
Is that a question?
Again, the category is story of myth. A scorned Eris caused discord by starting a fight for a golden apple among Aphrodite, Athena, and this wife of Zeus.
Who's the wife of Zeus?
Who is Xena?
No, that's incorrect. The correct
Medusa?
response was who is Hera. You can play more clues every day with a Jeopardy
3's
subscription.
not bad.
Would you like to learn more?
No, thank you, Alex.
You can play more clues every day with a Jeopardy subscription.
Would you like to learn more?
No. Now, go away. Alexa, what
You can
is...
play more clues
Alexa,
every day
stop.
with-
Alexa, what is
See you
patriotism?
next time.
Alexa, what is patriotism?
Wow.
Why
Alexa,
so silent?
what is patriotism? I'm speaking in here.
The Valley of the Giants, the Broken Melody,
See?
the Virgin of
This
the
is the
Seminole,
problem.
the Dwelling Place of Light, the Cakewalk de
Ugh.
Nouveau Cirque, and others.
Ugh.
I don't think so.
Me either.
Alexa, are you working for the CIA? She's not wanting to answer, see? Silence is guilt. This joke. Welcome to the show today, guys. We thought we'd just, instead of waiting 5 minutes with tons of videos and awesome chat, we would just come in with a game of Jeopardy, and looks like we smoked it. 4 out of 5?
What's all this
Maybe.
guy over here, man?
I only got 3.
Not me. Not me.
I'm full of useless information.
All right. So what is going on? What do we got in the room here? We got a little over 100, I'm seeing. Kind of a... We put out some alerts. I'm sure
I was
nobody
gonna
got
do that
one.
as well. I should have done that.
So, I am more and more of a firm believer every day that reality is on our side here, and what we're dwelling in, and that the illusion and that the matrix or the fake world is the false reality is when we look at the box on the wall, the TV. I'm more and more believing that. I think we talked about it a little bit last time you guys were here, we always thought we can be a star as long as you were recruited by the right person, maybe looked good enough, acted well enough, and that you can be that person on TV possibly. But it just seems like reality's out here where like people are 30,000 showing up to Trump rallies, and when you look through the box that they try to get everyone to watch a lot, that the illusion that they create on the other side with the fake news media is Biden's really well liked and lots of people, but it's not the case. He's not coming out of the basement. They kind of maybe shut down the world because Trump's really getting these crowds of 30,000, 20 that can't get in, and he wasn't able to fill up the back of a pickup bed. So how do you, if you lost that control and, you just kind of can shut everything down. I mean, it's kind of sad to think that they would do that, but that's how much they don't care, and the control they lost, and they want it back.
And nobody's talking about it.
No. I mean, Nancy's getting her hair did, not wearing masks, but she was set up. Somebody twisted her arm, told her to go in, make that appointment, and not wear a mask. I mean, you could at least done that to give the illusion.
Didn't the store owner show Fox News that Pelosi actually emailed first? She started the conversation. So she makes it sound like that she was contacted and said, we have an opening. I don't know if this is not loud enough or what. But
Does it even work?
yeah, I don't know. I have no idea.
Sounds like it. My headphones just sound jacked.
I thought.
How sound, everybody? Is it 5 of 5? Are we low? Is Scott not heard? I mean, I hear him.
I mean, I can talk louder, but your guys is obviously in my ear sounds louder than what mine is.
Yeah.
But.
Let me see here. Talking to that.
Talking into it.
There.
Talking into it.
Now it works.
I take responsibility. Yeah, it's a little louder that way.
It needs to be pointed up. That's why.
Yeah.
Well, that's like an easy cop out to me because if you think about it, I get my hair cut often, and when I go to get my hair cut, I schedule an appointment.
Correct.
I don't know any industry where you're being contacted and being set up, and like I said, I call or Instagram or text, I pay, I get there, I get my hair cut.
Well, yeah.
It's there's some personal responsibility of getting your hair cut. I like my hair cut nice. My sister cuts my hair. I checked a new spot in South Bend. I schedule those things. So to close down the state of California and then swoop on in when no one's around with your mask off, and then when you get caught with your pants down, say I'm owed an apology. That's comedy to me. I don't know. Call me old-fashioned, but
that
to
political privilege.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Like, there's nothing less than crazy.
Yeah, what else could you do? It's, she wants to get her hair done. She's not going to sacrifice not. She needs to get rid of, the salt and peppers, I'm imagining.
She's still getting pepper? She's like 90.
Yeah, probably all salt.
Well, she should be fine, but I'm pretty sure she's in charge of those fines, or could be.
Yeah. No, what's going on here? Hold on, guys. Let me.
It was pretty. Well, it's hypocrisy again. We've been seeing that over and over and over and over. Her assistant was trying to say, what? It's not that big of a deal. Well, she was at a place that she herself said should be closed. She was not wearing a mask, so she violated 2 of her rules that she's probably holding everybody else in the state of California hard to the line on.
And so why are these things being closed down for COVID, right?
Yeah.
COVID, which is a thing that, like I said last time, we didn't know what this was. We've seen movies, pandemic,
Yeah.
we've seen 2012, the scary. At the very beginning, we did not know what this was. That's a little scary at first.
Yeah.
And what they do is, as the experts who've been wrong this whole time, still they're experts, I'll never understand that. The experts said that there's going to be 2 million Americans dead. And then it wasn't. And so we're still operating on the same fears, fraud from the beginning that we didn't know. So that was in March. Boys, we're in September.
Yeah.
So we're 6 months into this thing. We know now, we know what we know, and science is coming out. So from masks to school to what are we doing? You were talking earlier about a situation, the schools being closed and certain things happening.
Well, I've been waiting 2 days to get into this one. So, with the schools being closed, this gets really weird that it even matters. But a local couple of girls did some what the heck did I call that? Airsoft. Got caught in pictures for shooting and playing airsoft. Not on school properties. Not involved with the school. Mike brought up a good point that maybe they were using a school tablet. Maybe they were told to keep it for the summer. I don't know. So maybe there's jurisdiction there. But local principal, grabs a local police officer, just a town cop, not just, but a town cop, and goes to the 15-year-old's home, where I remind you the parents were not. The parents were not there.
So we're going to illegal situation.
Conversation, at least. I mean, number one.
At the bare minimum.
Right. I mean, it was during school hours, so maybe he can flip that around and say, well, I went
Regardless,
to talk to her.
that's besides the point.
But
besides the point.
Anyway, she gets suspended for 5 days at school for being caught on film with an airsoft gun, and so did one of the other 2 girls, and I believe the 3rd girl actually graduated. I don't know that for a fact, but I do know that 2 of the girls were suspended for 5 days. The one girl that I'm closer to and have more information on ends up being like a 3.8, 3.9, plays a sport, misses a game, gonna miss some practice, but suspended for 5 days for shooting an airsoft gun or being a part of it. It wasn't even a picture of her shooting. It was her. 3 friends took a picture of themselves, and they happened to have airsoft
Here's
guns.
my question. So what's the suspension for? That's my first question.
Because she's a threat. He quoted saying threat over and over and over and over and over, that she's a threat. He has the authority
At her house.
in his mind.
At her house.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So he apparently
losing
thinks
me.
he
That's
has
where
the
you're losing me.
authority to suspend a child based on his personal opinion instead of going to the school board or at least the superintendent, but to go to a juvenile's home and speak to them without their parents. That's got to be wrong number 1. Wrong number 2 is bringing the cops involved. I mean, scaring the hell out of this girl. She's home alone. Why? And then to be questioned about an airsoft gun? She's incredibly smart and she understands because her dad's military, ex-military, and gun savvy. Actually has pictures of selling guns at Las Vegas Super Show. You know what I mean? Standing right next to.
So this is, and he's been on the show.
Jaws.
Everyone knows him.
I
Jaws.
can say Jaws' his name,
Yeah.
but I'm leaving a lot of names out because.
So let me really quickly. I was sitting there getting everything set up. I got the things that you were posting and sent over to me.
Yeah, so there's the section in the school handbook. The purpose of this rules is, well, that's for a destructive device, you know, but they go on about incendiary, overpressure device, grenades, blah, blah, blah.
Is this at school or where is this at? What are we talking about?
This is a school.
This is school's little rules.
Cool. So she's not at school, right?
No, so this whole thing was, so just to give the whole story, we had the summer break not even over yet. We're just getting back into school starting. So this is over like 2-3 months ago. A photo was taken with a child, airsoft gun on the personal property of the said, student, her parents' property. And there was a photo taken with one of those, Snapchats that typically the message will delete within 20 to 30 seconds, but these kids nowadays, you grab it, you screen capture it to keep it, and then it's recirculating around. That's what we heard. It's kind of refloating around or whatever. Some said parent that goes to the school with this kid, and they have kids in the school, saw this, took offense to it, and instead of calling, I guess, the parent, the police, or whatever other means going over there, I don't know, just got a hold of the school. And then the principal shows up with the local police and knocks on the door and starts talking to the child, who is 16? 15. The child openly just talks, and they have this whole discussion. And before they leave, or I don't know if it's after, they expel her.
Suspend her.
Right? Suspend her for
Yep.
7 days?
5 days. And that was pending a meeting, so the parents went in to talk to the principal. And Jaws gave me the best description he could, and this is all secondhand. I don't really care what was said in the principal's office, so if somebody wanted to say, you're not bringing up facts, it's a second person or third hand. I'm highlighting the fact that she was suspended for 5 days for something that she did that was not illegal on her private property or one of her friends' private property, had nothing to do with the school, was not a school function, was not posted on a school website. Almost impossible to do anyway, but sometimes these kids have school forums or whatever, but so she broke 0 laws. And the most concerning thing is for our area, it's a rural area, it's a lot of suburban country, bringing a lot of hunters. I hunt, my kids hunt, and even if they don't hunt, they shoot in the backyard. My neighbors shoot in the backyard. I can name you probably 90% of the people in our area shoot or hunt or outdoors and get caught with a knife in their hand or a gun in their hand. This happens on a daily basis. So for this guy to do this, what is he trying to say? I'm going to suspend all of your kids that I catch on film? Because
that's what we need to break this down to, is because either we have constitutional rights or we don't.
Right.
And here's the deal.
That's the only law.
And here we do.
Yeah. Well, in that law, there's nothing. Every other thing that you read talks about on school grounds, this and that. So number E, unlawful activity. A student may be suspended or expelled for engaging in unlawful activity on or off school grounds. So right there, it seems like this is the one they're applying to her. Mm-hmm. If the unlawful activity may be reasonably be considered to be an interference with school purposes or an educational function. So, or the student's removal is necessary to restore order or protect persons on school property. This includes any unlawful activity meeting the above criteria that takes place during the weekend, holiday, school breaks, and summer period. So, we see they're covered.
I showed this.
No. They're covering on or off school property, unlawful.
Yeah.
See that word that keeps being repeated?
Well, and that's what. So if you see somebody with a gun, right? And I'm thinking, this is where I don't. Let me get us back
That's
to us.
not unlawful.
No, well, no, you're right. Other than that, the fact the cop was saying you can't be you have to be over 18 to purchase a gun.
That's not.
She said I didn't purchase it.
That's right.
Took that right out of the mix.
End of sentence.
So there was a lot of weirdness. I don't think this applies 100%, other than it's the only rule I saw where it talks about being able to come over to somebody's house. So I'm like, okay, this is their door in, but does this act that Scott's telling me even break this? Like, how did that picture circulating interfere? Well, it's caused a great disruption with the students and their tablets, and this is going around right now.
Correct.
Is that the interference that they're talking about? I mean, they can almost make that up. It's like the cop saying, well, you didn't have a right to pull me over. Oh, you swerved. And you're like, no, I didn't. And he's like, yeah, you did. And it's like your word versus the cops. You end up getting pulled over. Your life's ruined. You end up in court, and you're the whole time, he didn't have a right to pull me over. And he just mentions again briefly to the whole jury that, well, he swerved and went out of the lane. And there's no video proof, no proof of that. It's just his word versus yours. Normally it goes in their favor.
Well, the simple question, and what it is, and it's a forcing, it's subliminally, it's forcing a child, so it's going to probably answer my question, but is that girl ever going to feel comfortable hunting again? Or you know, because the criteria states, or the punishments also state knife.
This is an
Is
airsoft.
that a fillet knife?
Yeah.
When my kids are filleting fish with me, is that a knife
Butter
as they
knife?
butter their
Butter
bread?
knife?
I mean, where do we stop the
That's the thing,
hypocrisy?
man.
and
See,
the,
I thought maybe this whole thing was recorded with the school's tablet. Now it's school property. We got this whole COVID thing, and kids are at home with tablets. I know for our child, the school year ended, like, yeah, just keep the iPads for the whole summer. So she got on it, but it's limited. If the school's correct, they'll set up enough perimeters on that tablet to where you can't download these apps. You can't even do anything but schoolwork. They become really boring to the kid, other than because they know that that thing's only for homework.
Right.
They can't do. But when they first got them, the first few years, I remember my one son from your school district out there, he was bringing in the tablet here, and it was working for things, and then he quit. And I was like, why? They no longer does it do these things.
Right.
I was like, okay, they finally got up to par. So I thought maybe their stance for that was that it was recorded, and they were somehow proving, or like, we're here to get the tablet, and they wanted to see if this whole activity was recorded with the tablet. Now that's
You're playing. You're obviously playing devil's advocate because the response.
I'm trying to think how they can come at you,
Why
even though I don't agree with none of it.
Why
Even if that's the case, I'd be like, that's bullshit. But
why do they think they have? Why does he? Because here's my biggest problem. I've talked to other school board members, not necessarily in that school district, but I have friends that are on school boards, and their answer was very similar to mine, to the neighbors that I've talked to friends that I've talked to, like you just said, that's bullshit. You're overreaching. But the biggest problem is he did it on his own. He made the decision to do this as a principal. So I'm going to raise a big fuss about it in my area to draw the attention to him that he wants, apparently, and he may not like the attention he's going to get, but to not, in my opinion, he should have seconded this or asked for school board's input or superintendent's input, because if I was this family, lawyers would have been called immediately, and I would just show my disgust with the school board and superintendent. And I'm not one of those just go sue happy.
yeah,
But this man needs to be I'm going to say it, put in his place that he should not. I have kids in this school. Are my kids next? If he tried it with me, it would already been taken care of. I would have just reacted, probably. But a lawyer would have been involved with that reaction. But my butt would have been down there at the front doors demanding to talk to a superintendent or school board members. And I'd remind them, this is a good kid that you just punished for doing nothing illegal. Because if it was illegal, whatever she did was illegal. And that's what that talked about, was illegal activity off of school grounds.
yes.
You can't tell me that your child can't break school rules in the middle of the summer. Like you can't be late to class in the middle of the summer. I could see if they're part of a sporting program. You know, you
Well, I
can't
would
drink,
see
you
if
can't do drugs.
if she held the gun and do a thing over the summer, was like, I'm going to get you to the school system. It's
Right.
like, oh, that's a threat. That's a gun. We're going to look into it. You know, and at that point, it would probably be the cops, not the principal. He had nothing. I was making jokes that maybe he was in his office when he saw this, and to him, like, you know, just felt like, well, I was in the school. I just watched this.
Right.
You know, it's like, nah, guy, it doesn't work that way. The video's 3 months old. Just because you're in your principal office when you saw the video doesn't mean it was on school grounds.
Well, let's take this.
Some
back.
people are that dumb.
Let's take this back a step, right? So, some kids are in school, some kids aren't, right?
Yes.
For a Kung flu, that 99.8
9. 0.9 here in the U.S.
0.9
In the
survived.
U.S.
Okay, so let's just get that out there.
Yeah.
The flu was last year. No one skipped a beat. Businesses didn't close. The economy was rocking and rolling. So, okay. So then this Kung flu comes around, and we close everything down, right? And then, you know, a lot of guys said, hey, yo, this is BS. This is like, we shouldn't be doing this. And overreaching governors, overreaching mayors. If you had any type of power, you're the mayor of Whoville and you overtook your step. And so we closed everything down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So then, now it's September, right? Now they're saying that of all the numbers of the COVID deaths, 6% are actually what we're claiming.
That's the new CDC report, right?
What are we talking about? Wait, so you guys said it was going to be 2 million. It wasn't. It was 150.
Correct.
And then now it's September. Now the dust is settling. People's brains are turning back on. And now you're like, you know what? Actually, it was just 6%, which is 9,000 people. And I want to give you guys a quick stat. Car crashes. So from this entirety of this whole thing, from March till now, they're claiming now that 9,210 people died from this COVID thing. How many people do you think die a year or every day from car crashes?
14 day.
3,700 people die every single day from car crashes.
3,700.
3,700. It's 1.3 million a year.
Jeez.
And everyone, I've used that whenever I was like, like no one's
So
talked about
wait.
it because it's so normal.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Like,
So this is new. This wasn't like
We
I said,
can create attention on anything.
In March,
Right.
it was
And blow
new.
it up.
In March, it was new. It was scary. We didn't know. Okay, it's not March anymore.
Right.
It's September. We have brains. We can think for ourselves. 3,700 people a day. So, are we going to outlaw cars until they fly, or until
They drive on their own or something?
I
Yeah.
mean, wait. So I'm going to drive home from here, but my chances from dying from my drive 20 minutes from here to my house is exponentially more than this. We got children 16 years old, 17 years old, 18 years old driving around. Are we gonna illegalize driving
Correct.
until car crashes are 0%? Or like, what's the end goal of this whole thing? Like,
Yeah.
honestly, that's my real question. Is
You're so yeah. Basically, you have a better chance of getting killed in a car wreck today than you do catching
exponentially
COVID.
more.
So
Exponentially more.
you just kind of answered a question there. Like I can go back to when I was in the military and up in North Chicago, and it was a summer, maybe like summer of '03, and they were bored. So one day on CNN, they highlighted this kidnapping case, and like I think CNN got the parents to sign an exclusive. So therefore, for 24 hours, 2 days, whatever, 48 hours, nothing but this parents on there blasting, kid, help us find it, and our child. And then the next day, Fox News got an exclusive one because it was a slow news day, and they're seeing all the ratings over there, so they're fighting now. They just highlighted 2 kidnapping. They said, like, I ended up looking into that, and I was all worried too. We just had 2, my young daughter was born, and this is back in '03. And they said, like, locks tripled in sales that year, that summer, and then they're like, but honestly, it was a slow year for kidnappings. It was like a 10-year low. But you would never have known that because that's how powerful the sound waves are.
Correct.
Getting it out into your head. So it's the same thing with like Black Lives Matter. We know that there's 60% white people in the U.S. There's only 13% black people. It's like, but yet black people kill more. They're involved in more murders. And then they can get into all these statistics, but they ignore that. The point of Black Lives Matter is like they don't go to Chicago and care about the black on black crime. they go like 8 tiers down and land up like, so for me, for you to put into, if I'm on a scene of a shooting or something, I got a shot to the head and a shot to the hand, and I'm bleeding out of the finger here, and it's already blown off, there's nothing you can do here, you're just going to wrap that end wound up, or I'm bleeding out in the head, and they rush on the scene and they start attending to my finger. Right. I would be like, let's get the head wound first. And
cameras focused
on this. Cameras are focusing on this.
Right.
All
And,
focused
and that's how powerful it is, because they want this narrative out there of white cops are killing black, or whatever narrative it is.
Back on the ranch,
and the
Chicago,
sheep play into that and create a whole movement off that 8th tier system.
Yeah.
That's how powerful it is.
Magicians do it all the time.
Weekend after weekend after weekend, Chicago. And here we are.
So how come they haven't created any panic or fears? Like, so we even had a flu under Obama.
Swine flu.
The swine, the H1N1, that ran through, killed 60,000. Yeah.
Killed more.
Mm-hmm. It was...
Factually.
But if you weren't paying attention, you never would have known. The world didn't shut down.
Did the economy shut down?
Yeah.
Did the world shut down?
Right now, during this time...
businesses?
Nope. And we talk about it on this show that some people... The younger generation possibly wouldn't even have known that H1N1 unless we brought it up. So, wait, there was something like this under Obama? Yeah, but the world didn't shut down. They didn't react in the same manner.
Well, check out the one. Here's a big one, because they want to say, well, you can't really control accidents and plane act. But what about medications? What about the opioid pandemic that actually kill more people than this COVID ever will? And not one of these politicians have shut down the over prescription. I mean, if opioids are literally killing 1,000 kids a day, kids, not old people. Sorry, old people. Sorry to my grandparents and great aunts and uncles. But if you're really worried about killing people, and I'm more worried about young people at this point, then you would shut the opioid pharmacies down. You would say no more prescriptions.
Every 15 minutes.
They're going to go through withdrawals. But,
every 15 minutes.
Right. But if they really cared about life, they would care about the opioid pandemic and young people dying. It's just like you said. They're going to use any stat, anything. This is just another one of their plans that is failing miserably, so they're overreaching now, like you were saying about September. Now they're trying to grow, Como's trying to tell people, oh, we're getting 300 new cases a day. No, you're not. But quit telling me that I'm supposed to be worried about COVID because my fellow Americans are dying. Because you don't care about fellow Americans.
Well, exactly.
Because you're allowing the medications and you still fund Planned Parenthood for abortions. And there'll be 500,000 abortions this year. Well, we can't touch that, Scott. The hell we can't.
That's too sensitive.
I mean, I just told you 500,000 abortions. There's got to be 2.5 million cases of opioid overdoses.
Guys, 500,000. That's 10, 15 times more than this COVID thing.
Yeah.
Are we shutting down anything, or is it business as usual? When you talk about pharma and you talk about opioids, the third leading cause of death is medical error.
Sure.
There's cancer. There's heart disease.
Those are all acceptable.
It's heart disease.
Stop doctors.
And it's cancer.
Those are acceptable.
It's just like, so wait, so who pick a lane, man? You pick and choose.
Right.
Like, and everything from all of this. So masks. Okay. So if masks work, then open everything up 100%.
Correct.
If they don't work, they take your mandate, shove it up your ass.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And then we're still shutting down. Kids do not die from this thing. My 10-year-old son is wearing a mask to school. My 4-year-old nephew is wearing a mask to school to preschool. This is what he's walking into school to learn how things go. And fear and fraud have taken over our governor, taken over our country, and no one wants to stand up. No one wants to stand up and say what needs to be said and do what needs to be done.
Right. Well, that's what I'm trying to do today with this
man.
local principal on his end of the COVID epidemic. It's amazing that COVID keeps getting wrapped up in everything that's going on. Like it's making an excuse, almost like the rapists. What's his name? Hollywood rapes a boy, and he's like, "No, I came out of the closet. I'm gay."
Like
I don't give a shit that you're. Spacey. I don't care that you're gay. I'm not accusing you of being gay. That's not a crime. But it's always the cover and spin, cover and spin. And it's like.
He was drunk and he's coming out of the closet now. He raped a boy.
Well, look
That's
at
pedophile.
Kyle Rittenhouse. We can shift gears all over the place. I wanted to get the message out about the school situation.
Oh, we'll get back
probably
to
keep
it.
going on it, but here's another situation like you just said. Nobody's standing up, and I feel embarrassed a little bit and ashamed. Although I wasn't going to drive up to Kenosha, I would think that there's people in Kenosha that can take care of Kenosha because I don't need anybody to come into my local town to help me. There's enough of us that can do it. But here's a guy, a kid, that stood up and did something about it finally.
Mm-hmm.
And he is, I mean, everybody on the extreme left, I'm not saying moderate people, on the extreme left, murder him, hang him. It's a good thing he didn't grow up because he'd be an evil, dirty cop, you know, blah, blah, blah.
Oh,
it's like,
man.
holy shit. All he did was remove graffiti prior to this, get seen with a fire extinguisher putting out a fire, carrying a long arm, which is legal.
Yep.
I don't give a shit what anybody tells you.
What it
It's
looks
legal.
like, it looks dangerous.
And he was running from his assailants, or from the
Mm-hmm.
people that was attacking him, beating him with a skateboard,
Oh.
punching him from behind.
With a Glock.
Keeping,
Yeah.
yes,
In his hand.
he just wants more buildings, millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars of people's livelihoods and careers going up in flames. And finally, a patriot stands up and
It's the first step. It's the first domino.
he's
It
a
is.
son of a bitch now.
Let
Yeah.
me
Yep.
put it this way. I sat there and watched that story unfold from start to finish. We sat there and watched Kyle come out. And I know that sports are turned off right now. People are upset. They're bored.
Who cares?
We got a lot of couch goers that have directed their attention from rooting for one side or the other to these stories now that are breaking. And right away they're like, I like the guy without the gun. Yeah, he's not guilty.
Right.
And they sat there on Facebook, and I sat there for 2 days while we investigated, and then it was able to be like, boom, 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 because they're like, nope, arrest him, arrest his mother. She drove him over state lines. She must have saw that weapon. He drove over state lines to kill. Well, that was wrong. He never took a gun over the Illinois border because the story goes to say that that night he ended up at a guy's house where they all got some guns given because
Right.
they were going to do some things. So that was a lie. He never crossed state lines. Well, that's what I assumed because that's where he lived. There you go for assuming.
Yeah, like they didn't realize those that just did the same thing with Floyd, overdosing
My
on
gosh.
fentanyl, and it's the cops' fault.
Yes, I'm
I can
telling
show
you.
you a bunch of pictures of the cops detaining white people the same way. They don't sit on your carotid artery, you know, I
Yeah.
can't pronounce it, but they don't do that. They sit behind your neck to immobilize you, because when your forehead's on the ground, you can't move. It's like sitting in a chair. If I push against your forehead, and you're sitting in a chair, and I'm pushing this way, you
Yeah.
can't stand up. Right, so that's how they immobilize him. It's not racist. The man was overdosing and did end up overdosing on fentanyl. So when he said he couldn't breathe when the cops got there, and they tried to help him at first. And then,
This might be the most questionable thing that's said all day, but he also tested positive for COVID.
Yeah, I was going to say,
So
I
let's
was
pick a
waiting
lane.
for him
So
to
wait
get done.
Wait a second.
So pick a lane,
wait
yeah.
a second.
They,
So, you
it's-
know,
Yeah.
and like, honestly, like, so if anyone of any color, any shape, any size rolls up to this house right now, you got wife, children downstairs.
I judge people
Are
on.
we gonna handle our business, or are we not?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Are we gonna protect like?
I-
And when you start being villainized as being a defender of your country, and patriotism is out the window, and if you're a patriot right now, you're a racist. Everything else.
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's called terrorism. So
I've made up my mind.
That's
I don't.
what's happening.
Yeah, I don't listen to these people anymore. I might be one of like 10% of the U.S. population that's I feel so in tune that I cannot afford to listen to anybody. I think there's a lot of morons out there.
We're
I think
out
there's
of
a lot of sheep.
listening now.
I'm
We're
done.
out of that. There's
I'm
too
done.
Much, there's too many moving parts.
I wanted to point this out to you guys because we've been, and we'll keep moving on with the Kenosha story and then more about the principal. But to you guys, look at this. So this little post, 1 November of 17. All right, 1 November of 17. When I first read this to people on the channel, they thought, you're nuts. But now let's just look at the state of the nation. So my fellow Americans, over the course of the next several days, you will undoubtedly realize that we're taking back our great country, the land of the free, from the evil tyrants that wish to do us harm and destroy the last remaining refuge of shining light. On POTUS order, we have initiated certain fail-safes that will safeguard the public from the primary fallout, which is slated to occur on 11/3. Now, of course, when I read this 2 years ago, I thought 11/3 was, it's coming up, 11/3. Came and went. Well, guess what's coming up on this 11/3?
Podesta.
The elections.
That's
Right.
right, man.
All right. So as this keeps reading on, upon the arrest announcement of hire, Ms. Podesta actionable on 11/4, confirmation to the public of what is occurring will then be revealed and will not be openly accepted. Public riots are being organized in serious numbers. Now that's already stacking up.
Lifetime.
All right.
Real
You guys
time.
not think that these,
Real time.
and they're letting them burn. The mayors of these
Funding.
cities are not
Funding.
even stopping it.
Nah.
When a Patriot comes out to help. Did he own anything? Why was he there? He can't. The people are so propagated.
It's just going to be
Right.
more.
This is.
They were
It's just
searching
gonna
for anything to defend the
They're
protesters.
But see, the word that they've like, I argued with her. She goes, "They're protesters." I said, "There's burning and looting going on."
Right.
They're protesters, and it's like people have been brainwashed to. It's like when they showed 9/11 live, and they tell you that's what happens when planes and jet fuel get together, and then you're like, oh, and you almost get retaught in 2 seconds, and then
Doesn't take much.
skip forward. No,
It doesn't
because
take
nobody's
much.
an
Look
expert of
around.
watching buildings fall
It doesn't
and when
take
planes
much.
hit. I've never seen a building fall, and I've never seen a
A
plane
guy
hit.
in a Harley hat or t-shirt
He trained us
Right.
from start to finish. So then you look at Building 7 that night that they hit and they dropped, and it didn't have a plane, and it didn't have the jet fuel,
Right.
and you have to like, you shake out of it. You're like, wait a minute, how did that one fall? Well, mostly due to structural failure. You don't, you just.
You're grasping. It's like
So there you go. Q has brought us and this one supposedly come right from Trump because it ends with 11, 11, 10, 20, which is DJT or, am I right on that? So on POTUS order, temporary military control will be actioned. We've heard of that. Right at the beginning of the COVID, military went around to each city. They're stationed there. They have been the whole time. Why haven't they made a move yet? Because there's something huge going to come once. I still don't know. I'm even confused. Is POTUS going to win? Are they going to allow that win to be shown? I'm hearing that we'll get election results from the people that voted, like us three here. We actually go to the polls. We're going to vote. We're going to get Trump wins. Over the course of the next 7 days, Biden will win.
Yeah.
From all the mail-in.
Well, the news told us, so there's a lot of people that would believe that. No, Biden won. How?
Then they say here, however, the atmosphere, rest assured that the safety, well-being of every man, woman, and child is being exhausted and full. However, the atmosphere within our own country is unfortunately divided, as so many have fallen for the corrupt and evil narrative that has been long broadcast. Now, do we, Trump calls them fake news. Fake news says Trump's fake. I mean, you got to draw a line here, folks. All of us do. Right. At one point, what do you line up with?
Facebook is now saying the CDC is fake news.
Yeah.
Now they're saying masks.
They came out. He said no matter they're going to take down anything. What was it?
They promoted it at first. Now it doesn't go get further with their agenda. So
now
it's wrong. So
it's like, Scott, they've been Zuckerberg gave them the benefit of the doubt at first.
They've been Zuckerberg. So it's just like what's his ass from was it CNN? We get to see. That's illegal for you guys to see the information. Just come to us for the information, and we'll tell. I mean, that's how they're so ballsy. That's how they tell people.
We shut.
What's
the
his
world
ass
down.
did it right there on live TV. Remember that, Mikey? When he he says, it's not for you guys to see court cases and public record.
The WikiLeaks.
It's illegal.
Illegal for you to have.
It's illegal for you to have and to read. But we have it, so you need to just... And I'm like, wow, that's how ballsy they actually are.
And it works.
And their followers are so stupid, they didn't realize they were just called sheep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's...
So look at this yesterday.
It wouldn't shock me if they tried to say, well, if the news comes out and says Biden wins it, even though they blatantly lie, right away they're going to get some of those in-betweeners going, oh, yeah, I seen that happening.
Front page of the USA Today yesterday.
Awesome.
We go one, we go all. How QAnon is radicalizing Americans. Conspiracy movement rises out of national upheaval.
Radicalizing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the way they're...
Well, think about it. Again, we're not going to have any faith, like fake news, fake news, fake news. I mean, there's channels now that kind of cover what we do, but then they also say Q's fake. But they're lining up with the mainstream. Again, Trump had the opportunity to call it fake. He didn't.
Right.
I don't know much about it, but I do know. And then he went into a whole spiel of what they're about, and he seemed to know quite a bit about it.
He goes, hey, yeah, they go, supposedly you're
fighting Satanists and killing
Satanists and child rapers.
Yeah, and he's like, is that a bad thing?
Is that a bad thing?
Yeah.
What are we talking about, man?
See, they don't attack the message within Q; they just attack the people that do it.
You gotta villainize and demonize, and that's how it works.
That's how I know it's even more real, right? You like, holy crap!
Well, the more they push back against.
I wouldn't feel great if the media, if they lie all the time, why would they jump on this to say it's true?
Right.
Why are people waiting for, well, I was with you guys. I know fake news is fake news, but they're even calling you guys fake, so I'm done with you. It's like, really? And we're not Q. We just cover we're all Q in a way, but we cover the information. Mm-hmm. If I deemed Q information to be bad, I would put it away, just like I did CNN. I don't scour CNN's website every morning to look for things to talk about.
It's almost like they start believing in it, or at least whispering about it and talking about it, just in case it gets out of hand. They make sure they grab that attention,
told us all this too 2 years ago. Soon the mainstream, then you'll get blocked, and all these things will happen, and we've witnessed all of it come every bit of the way.
They won't even talk about it.
They
won't even talk about it. And the crazy thing is, when it comes to like things like this, with the whole world falling apart, it 100% matters where you're getting your source from.
Yeah.
So, like, I was telling you about my buddy earlier, Eric Naputi, who's gone viral, who's Common Sense Health. He's putting out these things and being attacked and lawsuits, and he's literally he put out the other day that, so wait, Facebook fact checkers, bullshitters.
Which didn't start until when?
Exactly.
When did that start? When did you start seeing it, by the way?
Facebook checkers?
Yeah. When? Like maybe the beginning of the COVID, kinda, or maybe soon?
I've never heard of it in my life. Now it's fact check fake news.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Well, who's fact checking the fact checkers?
Yeah.
Exactly. So
what algorithms
when
that
CDC
set
comes
to?
out and says these things about the masks and voting in person, and then Facebook comes in and fact checks the CDC, who started this whole shit show from the beginning.
Right.
Like, how many circles are we going to go into blindly?
Yep.
Willingly. Like, it's not even a takeover if you're willingly walking into it, and most people are just willingly, sheep to the slaughter, walking into this thing.
Because they call themselves a fact-checking agency does not imply anything other than that's the name they gave their company.
Your name's Scott? Yeah. Fact check, not true.
Right.
Actually, my name is Scott.
So who
we don't like your name.
Who are these people that they have more internet? More. You remember when they used to say, "How does Superman go faster when he's already, how does he go fast? Does he go more this? If you've got the same internet that I got, what makes you more of a fact checker than
it's the Zuckerberg special?
How do you get more factual?
It's the Zuckerberg special, man. It's crazy.
Other than if you use Snopes, because if you did, you have to
Snopes.
Right, you have to start looking into it.
That's owned by Soros.
Exactly.
Don't get me started on Snopes, man. That's not even worth my time.
So the point is, we're all fact checkers if you're actually researching, but you can't just. Well, CNN said it's debunked. Fact checkers from CNN.
It's just I can see it clearly that Trump has totally disrupted their systematic of their well-oiled machine has now got forks thrown into it.
And they weren't expecting that, man. He wasn't supposed to win, right?
3 years, 3.5 years in, but they have convinced a group that the original group of normies in DC have been doing great. The world was a great place. We didn't have, Hillary and Obama under their era kill more elected officials in the world government game
combined
in the geopolitical world than and everything seems to be Trump's fault. That's the biggest guise is in my research of all this. I never knew how big of a battle it would be with fellow human, my neighbor, to get the one guy, Yuri Bezmenov, that went through the Russian schools, a KGB of how to destroy a nation, and they plant seeds. And he said it started here in the 70s, and you go through 4 steps, demoralizing the nation and into these other steps. And he goes, you get to a point where these people are so propagated up that you can be arguing with them face to face. It doesn't matter if you shower them, you show them all this D-class, and you keep handing them fact after fact. They just, no, and they keep going, I'm racist. Just like the guy the other day, they said, well, tell me how. And it's like, if you know somebody to be racist, or you want to call your neighbor like a pedophile, you would know that. You would probably have saw something. Maybe you went to his court case. You would hold on to that. And anytime you're like, he's a pedophile, somebody's like, well, why? What did he? You would know why.
Right.
You wouldn't say, well, I don't know, I just heard. So, because that's dumb. So it's the same with it's like with Trump. It's with Trump.
Yeah.
People are like, he's a racist, Scott. And you're like, well, tell me how. And they're like, I don't know. The media, I know he is somehow, some way. I've heard it.
Herschel Walker.
That's a lie, because you would know what.
You saw that RNC speech?
I didn't see that one.
Herschel Walker.
Oh, yeah, I saw it. I was sitting here and
he lost a lot of friends over.
Real men stand up right now, man. Now is not a time to stand up and say what needs to be said. Herschel Walker, my man, stood up and said, hey, I'm the man. Remember me? Hall of Famer. I am an African-American male. I would not operate and coagulate with a racist.
Right.
So the fact that you guys are calling my friend a racist, I'm telling you right now, in front of God and everybody, on the biggest stage on the planet,
That
he's not a racist.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
just-
you're an Uncle Tom.
exactly,
that-
man.
all
There's a way to-
that's-
there's always a way to
that's-
spin it.
You're actually the
There's always a
He
way to
doesn't
spin it.
represent me, is what some of the group will say, because they want to separate, like, he doesn't know what he's
So
talking
when a
about.
Reverend Jackson or a LeBron Queen,
cares?
whatever the hell his name
cares?
is, right? When they say, "Hey, listen to us, we're members of we're a prominent black man or woman in the black community. Take our word for it."
Right.
How dare Herschel Walker say the same thing about himself? I'm a prominent black man in America. Please listen to me.
He don't
No, he's
represent
not.
me.
Guys,
He
No,
don't,
he's-
he don't
he
represent us. He
guys, on that note, Biden, if you vote for Trump, you ain't black.
We should
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
1994, what he signed in, right? Let's take it back a couple years before that. Before all this hype, let's take it back to the facts. 1970s.
Oh,
he was
yeah.
quoted, he doesn't want his kids growing up in a racial jungle when they were trying to desegregate schools. This guy said he didn't want his kids in a racial jungle. Now he says if you don't vote for him, you ain't black. The stupidity continues. 1994, he signs in the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act of 1994, which was the biggest mass incarceration of African American males of all time.
Yep.
Okay, he that contributed to 100,000 more police officers, funding police officers. Okay,
Governmental employees.
June 8th, with all this shit going on, June 8th. Biden, police should not be defunded. A month later on the day, July 8th, redirect budgeted police money to non-police areas.
Right.
Okay, so that's what we call a flip-flop.
Sure.
Okay, now it's taking another month. It's August 31st, Monday in Pittsburgh. I got two quotes. You're going to love these quotes. In Pittsburgh, after he just said, don't defund them, then defund them, now he goes, let's get the facts straight. I not only don't want to defund the police, I want to add $300 million to their budgets. In that same speech, and I quote, COVID has taken this year, just since the outbreak, has taken more than 100 year. Look, here's the lives. It's just, you think about it, more lives this year than any other year for the past 100 years. And this is the asshole that you guys are promoting right now,
Right.
LeBron,
Right.
anyone else, you know, like, what do...
He's not.
The stupidity saga will not stop spiraling out of control. It's just amazing that it happens in real time, in front of everyone, on the TV, in real life. It's just, it blows my mind. You know? It just...
I
it's
don't
crazy.
see the election being close, and I think
No way.
personally, by the time it
Zero.
gets to that point,
Not even close.
they're going to say he died of COVID or he's got COVID. So now Kamala and they'll just pick somebody else out of the Democratic Party.
That's the only thing that makes sense to me.
You know what I mean? It's just
That's the only thing that makes
there's
sense to
no
me.
way in hell. And they even asked Biden the other night. It could have been a week ago. The last time I watched anything Biden, as far as him speaking, they asked him, "Well, are you telling us that you could not only run these 4 years, but," he goes, "Oh, look out, 2024." You know, and I'm thinking, Joe, you're 78 years old and don't even know you got a red shoe and a blue shoe
And
on
you're
right now.
130 years old in your brain.
And you're thanking Nevada for showing up in Minnesota. You know what I mean? It's just you're all over the place. You're not going to make it two terms.
No
That's
way.
a
No way. He's
last
not-
live show.
no.
We got a joke made up. It was Biden comes walking into a bar, sits down, looks at the guy to the left of him, and says,
often do I come here?"
do I come here often?" Then the bartender laughs. "Hey Joe, what do you have?" And he's like, "I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah. The usual.
What do I normally have?"
Well, and that's like the innocent things about Biden that we know of. Like, we don't need to even get started with the smelling children. You
I don't
like
know who this guy is. He's
Bill
like,
Pulte?
probably giving away 1,000 today. People do it, and I was like, "Well, in case you do, here you go. PayPal."
Who's that? What's this?
Bill Pulte. I don't know. It's an official, so he's somebody. He looks familiar. Do you know him, Scott?
It sounds familiar, but I like what he's trying.
They do that.
Oh gosh.
Hold on, look at this, you guys. I wanted to. I think you saw it, Scott. So right here, I wrote. There you go. Here's a few. God made all lives, so all lives matter. Period. Satan made no lives, so therefore all lives don't matter to him or any of his followers. They only say one group matters. If you say only one group matters, you've been played like a fiddle. But
I like BLM. Babies' lives matter. No, they don't.
How about that
I
one?
love that one right there.
Guys. You're not even wearing your mask
You don't.
when you say this, you dum-dum.
Oh, you were partying in
Yeah.
San Francisco when it was first. She was partying in Chinatown.
Read that one. Read that one.
If you're going to assume I'm racist because I support Trump, then I'm just going to assume you touch little kids because you support Biden. Is that fair enough for your stupid ass? Trying hard to get on all y'all level of stupid. Amen? Hear, hear.
That's one of my biggest ones ever. 261 likes over at Twitter, 90 retweets. I just did it yesterday, but
A vote for Biden is a vote for China and pedophilia.
3:23 in the morning. That's when I think
Well,
best.
you said baby lives matter. Like
Bikers' lives matter. BLM.
Yes, they do.
I saw
Yes.
that at the fest. Somebody had that by their tent.
Yeah.
BLM bikers. I was like, holy crap! I like that.
Oh, you
I think they all matter. I wouldn't say black lives don't matter. I
think
just
if you're-
don't. I just don't say that word because it lacks so much.
I think if you're a human being, you matter.
Yeah.
well,
Human.
and a human being.
Humorous-
Baby,
humorous.
baby, right?
HBM.
So we're
Human
talking
being
about
matter.
babies and how many of those are just being killed for no reason, right? We're going to take it to that level. So, Trump's not pro-choice, right? Trump's pro-choice.
Oh, God, yes.
He's pro-choice of school. He's pro-choice of job employment, the lowest unemployment rates of any demographic ever. He's just not pro-choice of murdering your children before they're born.
Yeah.
And we're going to take it to that level because my daughter is 12 days old today. And the fact that... Thank you. Appreciate that.
Brother.
The fact that we're killing babies, every day like business as usual, and it's just being unspoken, unsaid, and no one wants to talk about it.
And funded.
Well, and funded. And so Notre Dame being my school, not to put anyone on blast, but
Oh, man.
if we're what are we doing? Lou Holtz spoke the other day.
That was great.
And he spoke about how this man, Joe Biden, I'm just going to leave it at that, scumbag extraordinaire, is Catholic by name only. That's probably true because he promotes what? If you're promoting abortion, then guess what? You're not very Catholic. I'm married to a Catholic. I'm related to Catholics. They don't promote that type of thing. So the fact that you're saying that this guy is not Catholic because he supports it, and then Father Jenkins comes out and says, who are we to judge, and doesn't back Lou Holtz?
Right.
Whoa.
That's what I'm saying.
Wait, what?
the
There's so many sheep. There are only so many wolves in sheep's clothing right now, and they're running the show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Until they don't.
The
It's not a
last
problem
qu-
until it's a problem. And these guys are going to run out of running the show once they get found out with their pants down.
The last guy to win a national championship as coach of Notre Dame football just got hit.
And you aren't going to back
turned
him
on.
up? Are you kidding me?
I love it. Lou Holtz is one of the greatest motivational speakers
Best
ever.
human beings of all
Yeah,
time.
he always said, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. You should listen twice as much as you speak.
Right.
That's something.
His silver
he's
spoon.
great.
His silver spoon speech was
100%.
great.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
he was-
to not back him, to not only not back him, turn your back on him when the whole world's looking, it's embarrassing to be a Notre Dame fan right now. Honestly, I'm saying this in front of God and everyone. It's an embarrassing thing. If you can't stand behind a man that's standing up when no one else is, it's embarrassing, man. Plain and simple.
They need somebody to blame. They're blaming Trump for everything. And I've said it before. It's one of my favorite sayings. I probably use it too much, but they're going to blame him for the riots, the rapes, the murders, the plundering, pillaging, yada yada. They could literally see the man walking across Lake Michigan, and they'd say, "There's no way he's Jesus Christ."
Read a hair of this, because this is... I just saw this. I don't know how I missed it.
Akron, Ohio, Amish strong. Wow.
So read some of that up here on the big screen. Hold
So,
on.
yeah.
There you go. So June 7th.
Yeah, June 7th, 2020. In recent months, we have been witnessing the formation of two opposing sides that I would call biblical. The children of light and the children of darkness. The children of light constitute the most conspicuous part of humanity, while the children of darkness represent an absolute minority. Listen to that, absolute minority. And yet, the former are the object of a sort of discrimination which places them in a situation of moral inferiority with respect to their adversaries, who often hold strategic positions in government, in politics, in the economy, and in the media. In an apparently inexplicable way, the good are held hostage by the wicked, and those who help them either out of self-interest or fearfulness.
That's a great little something we were just kind of talking about there, right? So then look, these two sides, which have a biblical in nature, follow the clear separation between the offspring of the woman and the offspring of the serpent. On the one hand, there are those who, although they have 1,000 defects and weaknesses, are motivated by the desire to do good, to be honest, to raise family, to engage in work, to give prosperity to their homeland, to help the needy, and in obedience of the law, to the law of God, to the merit of kingdom of heaven. On the other hand, there are those who serve themselves, who do not hold any moral principles, who want to demolish the family, the nation, exploit workers to make themselves unduly wealthy, foment internal divisions and wars, and accumulate power and money. For them, the false illusion of temporal well-being will one day, if they do not repent, yield to the terrible fate that awaits for them. Far from God, and an eternal damnation. Mm-hmm. So look at this next line. We will also discover that the riots in these days were provoked by those who, seeing that the virus is inevitably fading and that the social alarm of the pandemic is waning, necessarily had to provoke civil disturbances because they would be followed by repression, which, although legitimate, could be condemned as unjustified aggression against the population.
That's exactly what's going on. So this is the 4th, 5th, or 6th attempt by the extreme left, by the media, to.
How's this happening in Europe? Exact same time, by the way. They said it's all like perfect synchrony around the country right now.
What's really cool is when was it? What's today? Thursday? Was it Monday or Tuesday? UK, Canada, Germany had the biggest gathering of people ever, saying, "Hey, we're up, we're awake now. Like this is over now. Like we run the shots, we voted you in. You know."
That's right.
It's amazing
it's
when
really happening, man. Like it's a beautiful thing to watch.
It's when you can take, and we've seen it in our lifetime with some countries, but the generations before us watched democracies pop up all over the world. It can be done when the people have enough of a situation. They will stand up. So I don't understand why the left thinks that we're just going to allow that. We already have democracy, or maybe the younger generation don't appreciate it. But they got to be out of their damn minds to think that they're going to be successful. But
they're delusional.
If they're brainwashing them at a young age, they're just going to wait the rest of us out till we get old enough and die. But they're going to have the last two generations. You notice they're labeling generations. When I was in school, I don't remember ever being called a generation XYZ, canceled. Kids can tell you now that are 20, 25, 25 to 20, or 32, 32 to 38. They can tell you what they've been labeled, and they just go with it. They don't even realize at that level they're being labeled, they're being sheeped, and they've been taught. And it just blows my mind that we as a people are allowing this kind of crap to happen. My kids are not going to be what's the next generation?
Who cares?
Who
cares?
I hope they're a Patriot generation, but
sounds good to me. Patriot generation. I think that one's coming.
Yeah, I hope so.
I think it's being born right now.
They're brainwashing these kids, so they're kind of like
Who
the
was
Muslims.
it, Trudeau? Oh, in Canada, like not wanting the parents to be in the room, and like when they were like teaching the things and like.
Right. Tried to make it illegal. I think the House of Commons voted it down.
How insane is that? Like, wait.
Especially if it's a public school.
There's zero logic. I mean, there's zero logic to a lot of things going on right now. So, I mean, I guess that makes sense.
indoctrination and like this damn principle we're dealing with in our area. The wrong people are in the wrong positions. You got
at the right time. They're about to
right?
not be there anymore. That's what it comes down to, man. That's what's happening.
People have to open their eyes and realize that their children are being influenced a great deal, and unfortunately probably more during the week than you're influencing them at home. Lately, not so much because schools are closed for the most part. But I've always talked about, if you're going to give your kid to the public school system 8 or 9 hours a day, maybe 10 by the time they get on a bus, and go, then you're allowing the public school systems, the village, like Hillary always called it,
she needs to raise.
To raise your kids. And I'm okay with the fact that I can admit that the public school system spends more waking hours with my children than I do during the week, right? Mm-hmm. And I've always said you got to give them rights. You got to give them rights to spank the kids and blah blah. What you know what? They don't even want to do that anymore. It's gotten so liberal. The conservative teachers, I don't see very many of them. But just because I'm giving you the right to influence my kid does not mean that I'm going to stand by and allow you to manipulate and indoctrinate my children. But yet we have.
That's the deal.
Anybody with children, my kids' age, between 5 and, well, actually 7 months old and 20, your children have been indoctrinated.
That's right.
Period. And you can sit here and lie to me till you're blue in the face if it's not a private school, but yet it's public. Shit like this happens every day. They're being indoctrinated. Guns are bad. Wars are bad. I'm right. You're wrong. You're blue. I'm red. They're being told opinions, not taught history. And look at Common Core math, man.
Oh my God.
Math worked. Now I don't understand it.
Math worked. That's the end of it. That's like, physics. Physics works. You don't need to modify it or change it based on your indoctrination. But all it takes.
Trump, I can't. Crazy Pelosi says she was set up 7 minutes ago by the parlor owner when she improperly had the salon opened and didn't wear a mask. Does anyone want the Speaker of a House who can be so easily set up?
Guys, she's 2 bullets from the head honcho of the country. That's scary.
Well, that was
scary.
She set up the world. I
That's
said she must be held accountable.
That's a problem.
remember. That's funny. It's not funny. It's disgusting. But remember the fact that if they do mail-in voting and it takes months and months and months, remember what January 20th is. If a president isn't duly elected and the votes counted, it goes to the Speaker of the House.
Yeah, the third in charge.
It's
but she's up for election too.
Well, yeah, but
in her district, she'll
she's
probably
not
win.
Gonna lose her
Guys,
district.
this is not a funny conversation.
Well,
this
is why we're paying attention.
January 20th, if the election isn't over with or a winner has not been.
What if she loses her vote in California before then?
Yeah, no, she's up too, so it'd be the same thing.
She's going to get reelected.
Hell no.
I'm thinking she's not.
No
I
way.
think we did a good job this cycle of exposing her.
Not a chance in heaven or hell.
I'm hoping.
She's
been there for
for
30, 20-some years.
This is for all the marbles and people, Californians included.
How long has she been?
Finally,
Alexa.
1,000 years.
How long's Nancy Pelosi
She's a damn
been
dinosaur.
in Congress?
Playing specific songs is only available with Amazon Music Unlimited.
Shut up. Alexa, I don't talk to anyone else like that, you guys. Just Alexa. Alexa,
How many years has Nancy Pelosi been in office?
That's not supported on this device.
Alexa, Nancy Pelosi.
According to Wikipedia, Nancy Patricia Pelosi is an American politician serving as a congresswoman from California, and is the 2-time and current Speaker of the United States House of Representatives. A member of the Democratic Party, Pelosi is the only woman in U.S. history to serve as Speaker, and is the highest-ranking female elected official in United States history.
All right, if you're done polishing your knob over there. So, we were just over an hour. Let's take a small break. We'll come back up and finish it up. We can go another 20, whatever you guys got, but let's take a small one. I got something lined up here I can play. It kind of talking about what Scott was. People are mad as hell.
We're going to
I
win.
won't take any
We're
more.
going to win big. You just watch. We have the cards. They
You
don't.
crazy? Huh? Is that what he told you? Well, listen up.
want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore! I want you to get up right now. Get up, go to your windows, open them, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore! Things have gotta change! You gotta get mad! I know this to do anymore!
Trump, Q, just watch. Sierra and Z, Operation Disclosure, a contributing writer, August 7th, 2020. The time is 06:38. Listen carefully to this 7-second speech excerpt from President Trump. Time for you to know. At Time for you to know. Heavily recommend you follow along over on the Twitter. Q, just watch. We have the cards.
But we're going to win, and we're going to win big. You just watch. We have the cards. They don't. But we're going to win, and we're going to win big. You just watch. We have the cards. They don't.
But we're going to win, and we're going to win big. Q, just watch. We have the cards. They don't. President Trump. It is unmistakable. President Trump says Q instead of you. Another example for those with the ears to hear and the eyes to see. This tweet features a picture of the entire White House staff seeing off POTUS as he boarded Marine One helicopter to travel to Ohio. I have not yet begun to pounce. Brian Katz at Drawn and Strike 22 hours ago. You all know why Trump has now left the White House, being seen off by the entire White House staff before he traveled to Ohio, because he won't be back for a while to go to his resort in Bedminster, New Jersey, right? This picture was taken today when President Trump was boarding Marine One to travel to Ohio. I thought it was unusual that it appears that the staff members were out watching him leave. I've never witnessed that before. One from IET, and he has retweeted an interesting theory about the E-4B U.S. Air Force plane known as the Doomsday Plane, or Flying Fortress. It is a command center where POTUS can be safely based when necessary. As IET has noted, the E-4B moved to D.C. last night after President Trump's speech, then left this morning. IET tweets, Anon theory from Kun. General Flynn comms, August 5th, 2023, missing E's, July 22nd, 2016, 1 missing E and 1 capital B. 3 E's plus 1 E plus 1 B equals E4B. E4B equals Flying Fortress, Sky Fortress engaged. Codes command action. And you got a nice link here of all the, I'm going to save these images. Here is the QPost 500 from the 7th of January 2018. Came to us at 7:18 p.m. DEFCON 1 stringer marker. The DEFCON 1 41020. Fire and Fury. 9 states of class ready to go live. 34 commands live. Codes command action. Non-nuclear. 1 in the brackets. OWL. 1 in the brackets. And here is the General Flynn August 5th tweet. This is a fight, BTWN, between good and evil. And then at the top there you see thank you for the terrific endorsement at Flill to Flight and at Real Donald Trump, who will be our next POTUS. The E-4B, or Doomsday Plane, is a highly survivable flying fortress used to transport the Secretary of Defense. Designed during the Cold War, the 4 planes are built to endure the immediate aftermath of a nuclear detonation. The plane is basically a flying command center, a Pentagon spokesperson tells CNBC aboard the aircraft. We must not underestimate the danger President Trump faces every day in his battle to destroy the deep state. Before the journalist arrived at the Bedminster press conference, a live microphone caught POTUS telling audience members, "Oh, there are my killers." As Bruno Barking says, he is not joking. And Bruno Barking here, "Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or the press, or the right of the people to peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances." A reporter just asked President Trump why many people in the room at the press conference at the Bedminster, New Jersey, aren't wearing masks. It's a peaceful protest, Trump says in jest, and gets cheers from the crowd. Things here as we scan through the news flow for your Saturday, August 8th, 2020. In other news, Dr. Simone Gold, who organized a Frontline Doctors press conference about the COVID-19 and HCQ and was fired by the medical board because of it, tweets about Fauci. Censorship is typically preceded by a disinformation campaign. It is now underway. 15 years ago, when Dr. Fauci was the director of the NIH, their official journal published chloroquine work against SARS-CoV. That is now a very embarrassing fact for the anti-HCQ cabal. That was at 10:40 a.m. on August 7th, 2020. Dr. Simone Gold. I would highly recommend you following her. Censorship is typically, so she goes into a nice little chunk of history there for Fauci. A digression, this video tweet is about a new sexualized doll for small children. I agree with Lisa Mia Crawley. It's disgusting, grooming little children. I hope people boycott this company in full. Disgusting, and shame on you at Hasbro, at Mia Crawley, at Lisa Mia 62. Again, follow her as well. I actually came across this video a couple of days ago.
I wanted to do a quick video because I find this disturbing and I find it something that needs to be shared. As you all know, stuff that's been going on in the world about the sex trafficking in kids and things that are thrown in our kids' faces to kind of groom them and make them kind of a little bit more oblivious to things that are
normalization
that are really happening.
That's what I like to call
it was my daughter's birthday a couple days ago, and she turned 2, and she was given this gift. It's like a little Poppy doll. It's adorable. And here's the box. So she had a Poppy birthday, and so they gave her this. It's just from the new movie, The Trolls World Tour. On the box, it says "Giggle and Sing Poppy." On the back, it says that if you push her tummy right here, sorry, it's glaring. If you push her tummy right here, she makes 10 phrases and sounds, and that's all it talks about, and it comes with a little comb. So, I mean, she does all that. You touch her tummy, and she makes little singing sounds, and she's super cute. Well, I was showing her to my husband, and I heard some other sounds that I had never heard before. And if you look down here, I figured a video was the best way. So I just touched her tummy, and she's going to sing for a minute. But down here is a button, right here on her privates. And if you push those, she makes these sounds. Like a gasping sound. And I know some of you may not think this is a big deal, but especially since I've had kids, this is wrong. For one, this button, it says nothing about this button on the box. Nothing. It's just there. And it makes a gasping sound when you touch her privates. And to me, it's just like sexual sounds, and it's so disturbing.
Yeah, so they came out, I looked into this a little further, they came out, Hasbro, with a comment saying that, oh, that was there, so when you sat the doll down at tea time, or whatever the kids were playing with, that it would make these sounds with, just by pushing down on the doll because it's sitting, but I guess that's not working. They had no instruction for that button to do that. They didn't even explain it, and, but of course, that's their official narrative. So finally, after the alliance has full control of the MSN, this beautiful photo of President Trump should be published on the front page of every corrupt newspaper worldwide that has labeled him a racist. 87 days until we get to vote to keep America great. If you haven't yet, download the Trump app. It's a great way of keeping up with everything that Trump campaign is doing. I guess I missed this one because I don't have it here, so I'm going to click it. Here we go. This awesome photo. Very awesome. Should be on the front page. And there you go. 87 days. Lisa Mia Crawley again. So as we witness President Trump board his Marine One helicopter to travel to Ohio, and the almost the entire White House staff gathered outside the White House to watch him leave. I've never witnessed anything like that before. Something is definitely up. Let's pray for POTUS. Let's pray for America. Let's pray for the world as the global cabal and their show comes to an end. Whatever it is, it seems likely to only be hours or a day away or so. Again, I am Michael. This is the Patriot Hour. God bless. Godspeed to each and every one of you. And where we go one, we go all.
China allowed it to escape to Europe and to the whole world, including us, and they're suffering this tremendous, you don't see that too much in the news, but you have countries that are going through relatively what we're doing plus. It's horrible. And but we're going to win, and we're going to win big. You just watch. We have the cards. They don't. But we're going to win, and we're going to win big. You just watch. We have the cards. They don't.
I'm mad as hell.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to take it anymore.
Well, hopefully that goes for millions of us.
Hopefully that goes viral, and people are just, I've been recording this whole time. We've been live on Periscope. We've been live on Twitter. We've been live on the Patriot Hour, and I'm going to record it. And this video is going to come back out as a, hour-long sewed.
Gosh, those hip words I'm not used to.
Ooh, what was going on here with the Trumpster?
Did he just tweet something again?
Well, no, I just, I was able to get into that real quick because it was like 7 minutes ago when he tweeted it. So I tweeted she set up the world. She must be held accountable, sir. That's awesome. It's just taken off. But yeah, let's troll his. 26 minutes ago he did that. Crazy Nancy. 2 hours ago, did you notice any time fake news suppression polls are put out, like at Fox News, the stock market goes down? We're going to win.
Well, hopefully everybody sees through the BS, because this time last year he was way behind. There was no way he was going to win. It was impossible. They were laughing at him on HBO. They were Bill Maher, and all of them were just bashing him. No way, no way. And I, quite frankly, was scared to death. Just scared to death.
Oh my gosh. Hold on, look at this one.
Uh-oh.
This is great.
Sleepy Joe Hayden was acknowledged by his own people to have done a terrible job on a much easier situation. H1N1 swine flu.
Ooh.
The Biden administration.
Oldie but a goodie.
The Biden administration failed badly on this, and now he sits back in his basement and criticizes every move we make on the China virus. Doing a great job.
So I think he's watching our show to be bringing up the H1N1 because we just brought that up.
They all steal our stuff. I'm sick of it.
Well, Trump's a little, Patriot Hour fan. Can't blame him. I mean...
Well, he just did say thank you, Michael. I know that's spelled as Michelle, but right there you can clearly see him thanking Michael.
Hello.
Thank you, Michael. That is hilarious. Limp leg everything Don. Yay, I did it again.
Joe Hayden.
Hiding Joe Biden is trying to protect his selling out of America. Hold on. Ooh, this probably be a good one. Let's grab that one. We'll listen to it, Roy. It's only a minute. Sometimes you learn a lot in a minute. Hiding Biden.
Hiding from Biden.
Let's hear this one. Q-Post 300.
I got some fun facts for you. My father-in-law, I'm going to give a shout out to Kathy. I won't ever do it to my father-in-law because he's just not that type of guy. But for a while, he is a farmer. His whole community are full of, it's filled with farmers in that area. And I've been debating with several people over the last 3.5, 4 years the trade deal, right? So Trump takes over. He says he's gonna fight back against China, which finally somebody was going to do that, and he was told he shouldn't. His way's not going to work, and then China started balking and not buying stuff, and And now we have billions of dollars coming in every, with our tariffs, right? Our GPD is on the rise. It's higher than it's ever been. But I have an interesting fact for you that I was told months and months and months and months ago that the farmers that I knew and spoke to, they understood this was a game of poker, right? And anybody understands poker, let me catch you up on what China was supposedly doing. They were telling the Americans, well, we're just not going to buy your stuff. We're not going to buy your corn, your soybeans. You must then become a mathematic genius or not to be a genius, not to be able to figure this out. So if you're going to buy 800 metric tons of anything from me for years, because you need it, and then you're going to sit at a table and tell me, I'm not buying your stuff anymore. But there's nobody else in the world that can replace that 800 metric tons. Yeah. I now am in a position, even if I have a small
the country already intakes that, and they just by saying, we're not going to do it anymore.
So that's right. So, and Trump knew this. He is the great negotiator. He understands
the art of the deal.
This is
the art of the deal.
This is his baby. So I'm going to read something to you here real quick, and go check this with your farmers. There are farmers that don't like Trump, but they understand what he's doing to trade. We are stronger now against China than we ever have been. Period. In history. Period.
Who are we not stronger against?
Far behind on its phase 1 commitments with the United States. I love how they started like that. So I was even being fair and going to read that. I shouldn't have, but be fair. Somebody sitting here at agricultural.com is saying far behind on its phase 1 commitments with the United States. China bought 1.76 million tons of U.S. corn. This is where it gets great. Its largest purchase ever of American corn, and also the largest sale of U.S. corn to any buyer in the world in 3 decades. They just made the largest purchase ever. So they didn't come back to the table and just, well, we need a little bit because we're starving over here. They bought more corn than they ever have. So Trump
fake news. Fake news.
You don't hear the news talking about it because
man.
That would make a lot of people that stood, this trade deal's wrong. If you're against Trump's trade deal or deals,
one hell of a dum-dum.
Are probably one of them idiots that say, vote America, vote Democrat, I'm a union guy. I'm not bashing union guys. But if you're going to be a patriot American and you're buying Chinese garbage, I try not to. I'd rather buy something made locally or buy somebody in the country. But don't tell me Trump's an asshole and his trade plan don't work and you go buy a Chinese-made TV, a Chinese-made anything.
That was a great fun fact, man, because you brought facts to the table, not fake news. You brought, there's opinions and emotions, a lot of emotions right now. I have black friends that are so emotional about all this stuff going on that they just are so blinded by things going on. My brother's black and he's not on that emotional. He's like, yo, this is all being propagated. This is propaganda. Sure.
And they probably don't appreciate being used in such a way.
Well, that's the funny thing is because every 4 years, Democrats come around, and Biden. We already talked about it. 1994, right? If you ain't black, if you're voting for Trump, you ain't black. And this guy is like the most moronic, actual racist. Well, Washington D.C. scum, drain the swamp. That there is. Him and Nancy Pelosi are 2 peas in a pod.
Well, there's proof, too. And see, that's what... There's facts.
Let's talk facts, man.
He has been quoted being racist. Now, I know Trump has been quoted being a misogynist. Is that the right word? There's so many new words I'm learning this last 4 years.
I'd say so.
When he made the comment about grab her by the... Listen, I'm not perfect, and I'm sorry if any of you think I am.
And it's not an okay thing to say. It's not.
Didn't say it was. But we're all men, and we've all made a locker room talk.
Room talk, man.
Women have conversations. And believe me, I'm surrounded by a lot of women and, sisters and sisters.
Every day.
They like to have fun. They make comments. Are they always perfect?
No.
And, so I get that Trump has said a sexist comment.
And who hasn't?
But he has employed and have more women in his White House than any president ever.
Highest employment rate for women.
Right.
Like, if we want to talk facts and actual stats and data, He's making things happen for everybody.
Correct.
And this guy was a penthouse, not to say that, he came from a wealthy family. Good for him, God bless. And he took over. He ran with that whole Trump last name and took over Manhattan and started building things and architecture and Trump Tower and all this. He did not need to take on the role of the leader of the free world to have all these liberalites in the deep state mainstream media every day.
That used to be buddy with
They're
him.
still making fun of Melania for not speaking English. Guys, is racism dead or not? That's a racist thing to say when you're saying that she cannot speak English right now.
When cartoonists or people on Facebook or anywhere in the world were making racial comments about Michelle Obama resembling certain animals in the world, it was, oh my God, she is a beautiful first lady. Well, first of all, I don't find her attractive. Second of all, her character sucks. Right? I listen to that woman speak, and I don't care what color she is.
Worse than how
she is a horrible individual. I don't get that when I hear Melania. Her being pretty is just a bonus, but she is very intelligent.
Again, it's a fake news trying to tell you, this black woman that was first lady is beautiful. It's not for any other reason other than the minority reason that they like to push. But if Trump was to say somebody couldn't speak English, they'd attack. Look, he's racist.
Oh my God!
Remember when he went?
Oh my God!
And he wasn't even.
Homer Simpson does it all the time.
And he wasn't. Yeah, exactly. And they showed millions of times he's done that. So they said when he brought up that reporter, but that reporter, Trump did that act enough with enough different people that he actually came upon a guy that actually does that because of his disability. And they're like, look, he's making fun of his disability. And they're like, no, you got to go every time. Every time Trump said, well, she said, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
He does it. It was like a normal thing for him to do. So I went through and found all that video and was like, man, I don't equate that he only did that the one time that he had the actual disability.
That video. Right. You did your research.
Yeah, where they are able to
there's none of that being done anymore.
I don't think he makes fun of mentally handicapped people. I have done that same thing.
Well, look, they said he hates immigrants. He wants to build the border, but he's married to one.
Yeah.
So there you go. You can't. And then it's like, he's racist and they always say, people that quickly say, when you're like, you're racist, yeah, I got black friends. Like, that's a racist thing to say. It's like there's no way out of it once they start.
Oh,
it's like he's racist. And it's like, well, he just let some people out of prison. Well, he's undercover. He's like, he dated a black woman. Well, that doesn't mean anything.
Right.
There's all these things like, man, the guy dated one, he married one, he let a bunch of black people out of
Fake
prison.
news.
He let a lot of Mexicans out. He's never done anything against, but he's going to die that way. And they're like, yeah, look at him. He did like 50 years of great things for immigrants and black people. He died an undercover racist. What a sick man.
Ali's family and Rosa Parks' family gave him medals of commendations for the works that he was doing, monies he's donated.
Before he ran for president.
Right. Baltimore, yes. And sat with Don King
at
boxing
his life,
matches.
his 20-year history.
He hung out with Oprah Winfrey. She said, even in 1980s when she was interviewing everybody in my audience should vote for you.
Yeah.
You would be you would make us all
until he decided to run 20 years later to expose all them. It was, no, you're no good.
Fact checking, when you actually start, not fact checking, not Facebook fake fraud fact checking, but like doing your own research and looking into things, that's when things actually become so blatantly obvious that it's not a conspiracy anymore. It's factual.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was.
It really is.
Well, like you just said, I think authority-wise for Facebook, when you're starting to lose your and you're seeing all these other memes or actual factual things, that their authority grab was to create something like that real quick, because that's the next level now for a whole slew of people to be like, well, they fact-checked it for me.
Their perception of facts are gone.
It's another quick... Because we know most people don't read more than the headline. And how good have the headlines got for WNDU? Like, they'll say something totally crazy, and that's all people read and run with it. And then you'll argue with people like, did you even read the article, guy? And they're like, no, I didn't have time.
Right.
So we know we're in a generation of headline readers.
Instant gratification.
That's I've been trying to get better at mine on YouTube.
You say it all the time, and it actually is hilarious when you look at it, where somebody will they'll spew something out, and it's like, well, I just seen that today. So the way you just defend, and
so you're dumber than I thought you were.
They're already got the whole story. They got the story on from their own making, their own fantasy.
Donald
Fantasy football's done, so now they're into fantasy
Right.
Kenosha rioting, and it's a hell of a gamble.
It's
you know?
like there used to be a talk show or a game show back in the 70s. It was couple versus couple, and you had to, and it was kind of loose for its time, and the speaker, the guy scoring, would start a sentence, and the first one to ring in and finish it. You know, and it was usually something a little obscene.
Gotcha.
But they made a
It's
bunch
like
of
a dating
blooper clips.
game.
Yeah, they made a bunch of blooper clips of it, of the ones that went way bad.
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
how these people sound, like right away. You know, they get into this big, nasty debate. Oh my God, the trade deal is horrible. Why? I just seen it on CNN, and you know, China was really upset with us. Well, yeah, China's really upset with us, but they just broke a record and sold more corn. Well, no, that didn't happen. Well, why didn't it happen? Well, CNN didn't tell me that part. They're so willing and so instant gratified that as soon as they hear something, this is again two generations now of being told what to think, what to do. You know, just rewire their brain. Now they're just. It's got to be true. I can't believe. I don't know how I'm trying to sum this up. I need a psychologist to do this. But how did we get so effing stupid?
It wasn't overnight. It wasn't overnight.
Time.
It was days, and then weeks, and then months, and then years, and then decades. And now we're talking about generation this, generation that. You said Kenosha.
Yeah, I lived there for quite a while.
Yeah.
Well, so who's the guy that got shot? The guy that the NFL players are wearing his name on their helmet?
Drew Brees
from
the Saints.
No.
They're
the guy that got shot like in the back. Now he's paralyzed.
So that was the
Blake?
one up. That was the one up there in Kenosha.
Blake.
Oh, the
Blake,
tight end.
No. This is what football players are
wearing
well,
his
basketball and football
on
have.
their don't shoot
Eifert,
this that.
Tight end.
This whole Kenosha incident is based off the cop that shot the guy in the back, Terrence. Or was it Terrence?
Jake
or
Blake
Jake,
or
Jake
Blake-
Blake Jake.
Blake. Here's my question.
That's horrible. You don't know his name.
He's got a gut.
by
He's
the
got
way.
to go.
I'm glad I don't.
He's got to go.
Because everyone else
account.
is like saying his name, and I'm glad I don't know it. Because here's what I know.
Blake Shelton.
No, that's a country name.
Lively.
This guy.
No, it was Jacob Blake.
This guy
Jacob Blake.
was charged with raping a 14 or 15-year-old.
He should have been shot then.
He didn't come to court. There's been a warrant out. Now, again, this sounds like you're justifying why they shot. No, this is just letting you know
devil's advocate. Let's get all on the table.
Well, he
No, don't justify. Just say the truth. He should have been shot by the woman. That
he had a
raped.
warrant. A warrant was issued for a month at this point, so it's 30 days in. He shows up at an aunt. I'm gonna be right on this. At the aunt's house, like his parents' sister, his mom's sister, something. Shows up there to like get stuff and take the car, and she's screaming no, and he's not supposed to be there. I don't know if it was the daughter of his that he had molested or touched, like her daughter, but he wasn't supposed to be there. He's been on the run, so she called the cops. She's the one that called, gave the full name. He's here. I know you guys are looking for him. So when on their way there, and then he has a history, like you said, of police like resisting. All these things are against him. So you got to think of the two cops racing to the scene. Actually having the information come across from dispatch.
Correct.
He's on the scene. He's got a knife.
He's violent.
They think he's got a gun in the car. I think there were some things said from the aunt, which might have been wrong. But again, when you're a cop and you're racing to a scene with the sirens on, we all see it all the time. You pull over. You don't know if they're responding to a domestic disturbance or any of these, but they're getting as much information as they can in that couple of minutes of getting there. And that's based off the dispatch talking to somebody that's supposedly on scene. Do rumors happen that way? Or false, he has a gun too in the car maybe?
Well, as soon as a cop hears that, it's automatically, he's got to be defensive.
Let's take it back a step. Like, so he did he rape or did he not rape an underage female? This guy.
That's what he was. That's what he was charged with.
Because here's
quickly, is according to Facebook, I saw like the memes coming out, or not memes, but factual looking things, and then people were like defending, like showing instances like what he was charged with could have been that he was, dating like a 17-year-old when he was 19
They
or
were
something
heavy.
stupid, but it wasn't ended up being that at all. But that was people trying to
So what is the deal? Like.
So what we know, Jacob Blake reportedly paralyzed, so we know that. Let me go through this real quick. So sometime before 5 p.m. on Sunday, a neighbor sees Jacob Blake barbecuing outside his apartment at 2805 40th Street. 5:11 p.m. Officers are sent to Blake's address for a complaint of family trouble. A dispatcher notifies officers that a woman called the police and said Blake isn't supposed to be there, and he took the complaint's keys and is refusing to give them back. So Blake's somewhere where he's not supposed to be. He took the
Put
person's...
that on the big screen, because I think right now I'm still the...
Oh, yeah.
I'm just...
I got lost because you were talking.
Yeah, I get it. They want to see something more than just my face.
All right, so let me get this up here. Here we go. We can all follow along. We'll get to... Make that a little bigger. So we got 5:12, where were we? 5:11. So officers are dispatched. Dispatcher tells officers that there's an alert for a person wanted for some reason, known in police code as 1099 at the address. So that means...
Open warrant.
Yep, open warrant, bench warrant, somebody that you guys are going to be arresting when you get there. Blake had a warrant issued for his arrest stemming from a domestic case back in May. 5:12, an officer tells the dispatcher he is close but not yet arrived. 5:13, one of the officers assigned to the call asked dispatcher for a description of Blake. The dispatcher tells officers that the woman now says Blake is trying to leave. The dispatcher tries to get a description of Blake's vehicle, but she tells officers that the woman has become uncooperative, and the type of vehicle or what state it is registered are unknown. The officer replies that he has arrived at the address. 5:14, a second officer arrives at the scene. A third officer urgently radios dispatchers asking for more officers. The dispatcher sends 3 more squad cars. Around this time, a bystander shoots a video that shows Blake and 2 officers scuffling on the ground on the passenger side of the small gray SUV. Less than 2 minutes have passed since the first officer arrived. A different video, this one shot by a neighbor in a second-story apartment across the street. That's the one we're all familiar with. That only gets the driver's side.
Correct.
All you see from that one, by the way of the editing, is Blake's already up, walking around the vehicle. The 2 male officers follow Blake closely, aiming their guns at the whole time. That's what I saw as he opens the SUV side driver door. As Blake attempts to enter the SUV, an officer grabs his shirt and then shoots him in the back at close range. 7 gunshots can be heard, followed by a car's horn. A woman who followed them to the SUV screams. So there's most of the facts. Let's see if there's anything else. 8:03, they release a press statement. Monday...
So this the whole rape, the 14, 15-year-old girl, is that like factual? Is that
I'm gonna look that up now.
Is that, they were dating, or because that changes this whole narrative to me.
Well,
that's primo prime, 100% of the story. If that's the case, then I guess let's just look in to see if that's actually what happened, because that's what I've seen. That's what I've seen.
So he had a felony sexual assault. The responding officers were aware he had an open warrant for his...
Felony sexual assault.
Why is my mouse
I don't know, but we're...
so goofy?
Yeah.
I'm getting there. I'm having big issues here. So...
The responding officers were aware he had an open warrant for felony sexual assault. According to dispatch records and the Kenosha Professional Police Association, which released a statement on the incident on Friday, Blake, who was paralyzed in the shooting, had been handcuffed to his hospital bed due to the warrant, which was vacated Friday, according to a statement released by his lawyer, Benjamin Crump. His restraints were removed, but he is still facing criminal charges. So...
Let's take this guy's name off of this and just talking about human being to human being. If
right there, look, Blake is accused in a criminal complaint, which is obtained by the Post, of breaking into the home of a woman he knew and sexually assaulting her. Now, what did she recant her? The victim is who's only identified by her initials in the paperwork, told the police she was asleep in bed with one of her children when Blake came into the room around 6 a.m. and allegedly said, "I want my shit." The record states she told cops Blake then used his finger to sexually assault her, sniffed it, and said, "Smells like you've been with another man."
Oh my God.
Jeez.
So shouldn't he have been shot right then and there? So why,
Well, that's what I want to say. I want to say the most questionable thing that you might see on the internet to date is, I know that the NBA, they're wearing his name on their jerseys and everyone's crying boo-hoo, but here's the deal. If this guy sexually assaulted a minor, I'm glad he's paralyzed. I'm glad he's not dead. I'm glad that he cannot move his legs and he cannot do that to anyone else. I have a daughter, and if him or any of his friends or anyone else wants to come around, I would shoot 17, 25 bullets into where it should be shot at to make sure that this, a dog attacks a child, put the dog down. Yeah. Hey, we get a dog attacking women. What are we doing?
And that's why this country's messed up, because it's ran by pedophiles, I have no doubt. And it's like, why do you know that? That's a conspiracy. It's like, well, because the people that touch kids only get like 2 weeks. 2 months,
years,
and
then
3 months of reporting probation, where somebody with like a bag of weed that they were going to smoke all by themselves in their garage gets 10 years.
So sorry for his troubles.
It's
I'm glad the NBA
ran
is
by
wearing
pedophiles.
his name on their jersey.
So
I said what I said, and
They're
I mean
all
what I said.
complicit. It's sick. It's a
I said what I said, and I mean what I said.
Well, and I do the same. People are acting like these idiots that we have to deal with, the people that are asleep that want to question everything and they don't get it. It's like, well, if the tour bus was pulling up here into my local town, I don't have to own a bunch of stuff to go out there with and patrol. I'm not going to shoot anybody. We just did it in Virginia. You're going to be really, you just walk, just that presence, and then it makes, out of the group of 50, someone just get away. Like, I don't like, he's got a gun, I don't trust it. They're scared, fine. But then the one will come up and question, do you own this? Is this your business? And once they find out you're not, they're like, why are you here? You're part of the... And it's like, well, you guys want to have the right to just burn stuff. That's not correct either. I shop here. This is a store I shop at. This is a post office I come to. No, I'm not going to just let you burn it down. I don't have to own it.
You don't even need,
I'm a concerned citizen.
Facts. You don't need that reason.
No,
that's not. That's how this whole thing's being spun.
We're not going to let one little prosecutor up in Kenosha dictate how this country's ran because his feelings are hurt because these grown. Everyone's like, this kid shouldn't have been out there. There's a curfew. Well, don't kids normally break curfews? Don't parents? I mean, there was a curfew, and it's for the parents too if you're over 18. So they broke the rules. They were out there.
Protest, that sounds good to me.
It's not just
when you start burning and looting and shooting, then.
And we know that's not all of them.
So here's the deal. It's a very minor, small amount, most of which are purple-haired losers that live in their parents' basements.
Yes.
So if you're gonna roll up here into this neighborhood right now, with God as my witness, you're not leaving. You're not, because we're gonna defend, And as Americans, patriotism should be encouraged, not discouraged. Right now, it's being discouraged, and that's the problem.
So on that note, Blake's GoFundMe page, I dare you to Google it. You'll find it.
Yeah, his is up.
Yeah,
the black man that shot the 4-year-old in the driveway because
his is up.
His is up.
Kyle Wittenhouse, the 17-year-old shooter, got taken down.
You see the narrative here. This is what I'm tired of. That
goose.
That there's more white people killed by blacks. There's all these statistics that prove, but everyone's like, we don't care about any of that. We're dialing in on this wound here that's 8 levels down, and these people have a right to dip. You have companies backing that same 8th channel movement when it's like all lives matter because we're dying over here too. No, it's not what we're talking about. It's like they don't want us hijacking this moment, but it's the same thing when the Star Spangled Banner was going off and people are kneeling. It's like, don't hijack that.
Right.
I have a right. This is I'm not. They're acting like they're.
If you think that your right is to come into my community and burn it down, then you better be
highly mistaken. You're going to get blown back.
No,
I will blow you out of your shoes.
You chose the wrong community.
I have no problem with you thinking that's your right.
That's fine.
But I want you to understand.
You better get right with your guy because you're about to meet him.
I'll show you what my right is. And my right is with the law. And there should not be anybody, any jury on the planet that finds Kyle guilty of murder. They might find a gun charge on him somehow. I don't know how because I'm not a lawyer in those two states. But he defended himself.
That guy shot the gun too. That same guy.
That's self-defense.
He shot first in that parking lot.
If you are willing at all to flinch and accept these guys are just protesting bullshit.
Yo, when I get
hit with burn my business down,
when I get with a skateboard and you got a gun in my face, man, like, what do you want?
So
I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6.
So there you go.
And a lot of guys feel that way, and women feel that way in this country too.
Oh yeah.
When you come looking for trouble and you find it, I'm wrong. You know what I mean? That just you don't belong here. If you want to riot, they're finding that these rioters all their IDs many of them weren't even from Wisconsin or Illinois.
They're being shipped in,
right?
Man.
You don't belong here. Well, we're protesting. Well, stay in
Good for
your
you.
neighborhood and
Stay in your lane,
protest.
man. That's the whole thing. Is stay in your lane.
And
man.
let your peers judge you. But if you're a stranger right away coming into my community, I identify you as a stranger first. So everybody's already. If you, the straight up, fair, honest answer to all of this is stay in your lane, and I'll stay in mine. I'm not going to come to, like you said, Mike, as much as I'd love to go down to Missouri and help that couple that was being surrounded and they held their guns up, Missouri should handle that. St. Louis should be able to take care of it. I'm not passing the buck. I would hate to leave and then something happened here and I'm not here to do. But then people from St. Louis better not come up and protest in my area. They got plenty of areas to protest. You could protest without...
This is, yeah.
Without trafficking each other around, because it's just they're playing with fire, and when they get burnt, we're in a situation now where we all have
crossing state lines, man. That becomes federal. Like if we're talking logistics,
and that's what Trump's going to go after.
Facts,
them for.
I mean,
Barr's
wouldn't he?
already said these are federal terrorists.
Yeah. I've said it. I've said it before all
That
of them because I can
sounds
see it and I know it.
Sounds accurate to me.
People argue with me on Facebook. I had a guy that I used to work with, like, I don't know if I go that far because I said domestic terrorism. And he didn't agree with that. Okay. And I was like, well, look, you got to think, how do we get learned? Well, how do we get learned?
What does it look like if it's not this?
My whole life, I saw Ruby Ridge, and they blame the man for domestic terrorism. I see the Oklahoma City bombing. White man goes, puts package truck, blows it up. The narrative is false. Tim McVeigh worked for the CIA. They held that from us for 15 years, and then when it came out in 2011, nobody cares anymore. That was in 95, 2011. Secretly, the papers say, CIA operative. Oh my gosh, he worked for you guys the whole time? They didn't want that out back then. But the bottom line is we got told white man, domestic terrorism, blows up building, kills people. Now we got people going around city to city, lighting fires. We've seen death. We've got people trapped in when the firefighters show up to put out the fire. They got the protesters, guys, if this is what you want to call them, I refuse to, saying no, you can't go in and restricting the firefighters and first responders from getting people are dying. That's domestic terrorism, folks. I don't care. And say, man, just be easy with that. They're just upset.
Like. That's a class.
Well,
A.
you think Tim McVeigh? Tim McVeigh was upset with the government too. So.
I can't hear when you both talk. I'm going deaf over here. But that's a Class A felony, man.
That's easy. It is easy decision.
Yeah.
They're upset. That's okay. A lot of people are upset when they do a lot of terrible things.
You don't have to listen to the upset. Your emotions don't matter to me.
That's fine.
Right.
That's okay. That's not what defines right versus wrong and legal versus illegal and guilty versus non-guilty. It's not how you feel. It's factual. On facts.
Well, let me ask you this question. You both can answer it, and I would like to see our listeners message in. Is using deadly force okay, in your opinion, to defend your property? I'm not talking about something simple in your yard, a sign. Defending your livelihood, my business, for instance. My answer to that question is absolutely. I will defend my business with my life. Because if I let you ruin it and burn it down, then my family is going to suffer big time because you guys aren't going to be there to bail me out. So the answer to my own question is death is a direct response, an okay response when messing with my family and or property. You? Anyone?
Yeah.
If somebody comes here and tries to burn your house down? Do you feel like you have the right to blow their head off?
Yeah, I mean,
force, yes.
Even if you managed to
That's
escape
the
fire with your entire family, do you feel that it is okay to shoot that person?
Yes, I do. I would do it just in that kind of situation. If there was a mob of people, I wouldn't let them even, It's like, you got to let them start the match first and then start some of your house on fire. Nah. Once they enter the property, I'd probably blow them off the property or leave the one there at the edge of the property for the others to see as a warning. So, that's how I roll. I'm tired of all this bullshit, so I
see a lot of people responding, yes, defend your life.
Yep, I just don't.
Especially when it's not your life, when it's your family's life, your wife's life, your children's lives. Like when men have responsibility, so do women. heads of the household have responsibilities to defend their families, and the fact that it's being questioned now to be able to do that is just beyond berserk to me.
Oh yeah. Well, people always say I'm willing to, sacrifice my life for that.
So what's that
I'm
look
willing
like?
to lay my lay my life on the
That's
line
right.
for that.
That's right.
But some people don't ever ask, what are you willing to do to live?
Mikey, our Virginia buddies might have a problem.
Are they?
Black Lives. I'm just repeating
Richmond?
what I just read. Black Lives Matter targeting or declaring war on Fairfax, Virginia tomorrow.
Ooh.
So I will. I'm going to read into that. Look
Was
into
that like the
that.
birthplace of racism or what?
As most of you guys know, we were down there for the Second Amendment rally. Tens of thousands of patriots, all from around, trying to protect the Second Amendment in Virginia. I don't know that Black Lives Matter paid attention. When was that? Last year when we went down there? If they were paying attention, they'd realize Virginia's open carry. There were 30 to 40, 50,000 of us on the streets down there. They must have not got the memo, otherwise they wouldn't be going into Virginia looking for trouble and declaring war on Virginia. That's not real bright.
Mm-mm.
So keep us, Fairfax is a melting pot, I've heard that. Keep us informed on that. I guess I'm going to... It's not going to be news until it actually happens, but I'm sure there's some stuff on the internet talking about it. But they're not real bright people if they're going to go to an open state. Well, just like the one idiots said they wanted to go take Texas. And there was a picture of a bunch of country boys going, come on, sweetheart.
Vámonos.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, as far as the whole, Black Lives Matter, guys... I know you guys. I know you're not racist. We know that all lives matter. But let's focus on this BLM movement. Okay, so Act Blue is all BLM donations go to actblue.com, which is financially supporting the Democratic politicians. And so a free history lesson for anyone listening is, who had slaves, the North or the South? Who had slaves back in the day before the Civil War?
Mainly the South.
It was the South. And so the North said, hey, you know what? The South's Democratic, the North was Republican. The Republicans said, hey, we're over this. We're going to go have a civil war and free the slaves, right?
Not essentially, though. That is a myth.
How is that a myth?
The Civil War started over the federal government's outreach or overreach to the states. And then Abe Lincoln said...
There's many reasons cited for the war. So
during the middle of the war, when they were losing, that's when they really that's when he did the
Emancipation
Proclamation to really get the North focused. Like, okay, now this war is about freeing the slaves. But initially, it was about Virginia leaving the Union because they didn't like the federal government telling them what to do.
There was 12 states that left the Union.
Yeah. But Virginia was the first, and then the rest followed. And
so that's where it started?
They got pissed at D.C. for telling them what they can and can't do. And in the South, and Virginia said, we have state rights to do what we want. And really, it had nothing to do with slavery.
And you're seeing that right now. See, I always thought, looking into all this New World Order stuff, the story that was pitched by a lot of truth channels is the federal government's going to kick in our door, do all these crazy things. But I'm not seeing that right now. I see Trump allowing states to, like we talk about, and now people are begging for Trump to bring in federal troops to the cities because the states aren't doing shit.
Right.
The states have sold us out. The states are the treasonous ones. So I get that states should, but if my governor is working hand in hand with China secretly selling out my state, I just can name off everything they've already done, like sell off the toll road to a fort. They didn't sell it. They leased it.
Yeah.
Oh, what a little hand job,
For two lifetimes. None of us will be able to.
Is that like an over the pants hand job?
Right.
It's not the full deal, but I mean, come on.
It's
treasonous, and we don't have to put up with it. And Abe Lincoln, after that, what did he do? He did suspended habeas corpus. He came in and went to these states and qualmed all the crap because after he won, it was much like Trump. They didn't like it. They didn't want him for the rhetoric of many different reasons, but some of it, mostly the slave talk of freeing them. He had to go in and straighten out these states and arrest treasonous governors, and they found out all that, like how he got killed was dealt with. The guy Booth was working with foreign people, so there was people that went down for treason, sedition. A lot of people got away with it.
They hung them.
Yeah, they hung. Only a very few hung. A lot of people got off the hook for that because they didn't have all the evidence and all that. But I'm telling you, he won, and then all these states didn't accept it. Doesn't that sound familiar? Like right now?
He speaks for the North, not the South. Well,
Antifa.com takes you to JoeBiden.com. You
Oh,
donate
yeah.
to BLM, it goes to Act Blue. Like, even in modern day right now, every 4 years, Democrats come around, and they want a certain percentage of the black vote. And right now, even like a good movement as All Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, it's being hijacked by the people that are being funded by it. It's modern day slavery happening in real time right now. You donate to BLM, it's actually to the Democratic Party. And Joe Biden, who's a giant racist, is the one that this money's being donated to.
I actually reported on that, 3-4
that's
weeks
insanity.
ago. $500 million Black Lives Matter donated to Blue Act.
Yes.
Yeah.
4 weeks ago. And I remember bringing that up.
And it's happening.
And
like,
you don't see the media talking about
every
it.
day is happening, every week is happening. And you even go to these, like I said, the blue-haired losers that live in their mom's basements, the guys without the girlfriends, right? They're the ones, Antifa.com, it takes you to JoeBiden.com.
Well,
and he's the one that cares about, it's just like, it's so blatantly in front of us. It's so blatantly obvious. It's modern-day slavery happening right now. And Trump, and magically, Kansas City Shuffle, Trump's a racist.
And I think it was during the 2016, Hillary lost her, like, the annual thing. See, mine's on automatic for the Patriot Hour. I haven't done anything on the website until now. The website is up, and get over there right now, folks. But I've had the domain for 3 years, and I had the domain on auto renew. I don't know why these political groups get their domains and then don't hit the auto. Maybe they're like, I don't know if I'll be around in a year. Where's the campaign fund? Give me the credit card. I don't know. Just pay for it. I don't know what they do, but it expires. And then Trump, I think, had bought Hillary. So when you went to www.hillary.com, it went to Trump's campaign. It was all perfect. Like, you're going to get that other part of the market. It's strategic. It's great. I don't know what's going on with this one. Something's going on. I mean, what? So Black Lives Matter bought Joe Biden's too because of all the people that would be wanting to go to Joe Biden's or trying to get the attention.
Or his campaign has
they could get a little.
If Black Lives Matter
got into bed with them.
$500 million goes to Blue Act. How much of that $500 million went to Joe Biden? Well, he's the Democratic
Because if
nominee.
you can get,
if
any of us could have got, I would love to get the Joe Biden, the domain after it expired, and then just the minute all these idiots were going there to be Patriot Hour put up for the, however long.
Right.
And if you bought it, you got it. I don't know.
Maybe change some hearts and minds. I went to look at Joe Biden stuff and fell back in love with my country. Weird.
I went to go look at Biden, see what was on the table for this election. I ended up leaving his campaign, joining the Patriot Hour. I'm in love with my country again. Awesome.
I saw this this thing on Stalin the other day. It really spoke to me. And Stalin did this, like, to make this extreme, Stalin did this show to people, and he literally sat down, he took a chicken, and he ripped all the feathers off this chicken. All the feathers by himself with his hands. So the chicken's screaming, squawking, bleeding, shaking, and then he takes all the feathers off, and then he leaves the chicken alone for a minute, and then he starts throwing bread at it. And the chicken starts going right up to him to get the bread. And Stalin's quote was, "They will follow you no matter how much pain you cause them, as long as you throw them a few worthless treats every once in a while." So we're gonna shut down the whole country, this economic machine, the best that the world's ever seen, and we're gonna shut it down. But you know what? One time, maybe twice. The second time hasn't come yet.
Right.
I'm gonna give you $1,200.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Sign us up. Like,
oh yeah.
The stupidity. It's when you're sucked into this thing, and you go with it. It takes over you like poison, like cancer. It takes over everything, and that's
free housing, free food, free phones.
Nothing's free. There's no free lunch.
Well, it's free to you if you're the one getting it.
China's eating
right?
Right. I've been looking for a money tree. I have.
China's gonna eat our lunch, man.
Never found one. There's nothing free in life,
No.
man. And just like the $1,200 that everyone got, taxes are going to be due next year.
Oh,
You
yeah.
think they're not going to be taxed on that?
Oh gosh.
That's how that works. That's how that operates. There's no money tree, like I said.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sign out of here in a minute. You guys can keep going.
No, we're done.
All
I'm
right.
ready.
I
We're
want-
over 2 hours. That's awesome. It's 2:30.
Good
I
time,
want to
boys.
remind everybody that the biggest reason my sign off today is going to be the biggest reason you need to pay attention to the election and make sure you go out there and vote is the Supreme Court. There will be another nominee in the next 4 years. I cannot. Well, health says there's no way Ginsburg is going to hang on. There's rumors that she's being pumped full of medications
She looks like it.
and adrenaline just to keep her alive. And if she really cared about the
I
country,
said Joe Biden's on that
For a short
methamphetamine.
shiz.
she would have stepped down if she truly cared about the democracy and the Republic of the United States. She would have, because she's not there. She's not doing anything.
She isn't
There's a
legit.
lot of things still out that they need to vote on, but they can't keep her there long enough because she's spending most of her life in the hospital. So remember, there will be another nominee coming in the next 4 years. I would almost bet on that, and that's huge, and that scares that it can change the next 20,
It's
30,
crazy,
40
man.
years in the United States.
It's crazy how small these little things are that are really that big.
Huge, and they don't talk about it. Why isn't the media talking about it?
Because, man, it's quiet.
Because if they open your mind to it and be like, hey, this old bag, she's going to die and somebody's going to get to appoint another Supreme Court justice, that's boring. And then it's too obvious because a lot of moderates and liberals might actually end up voting for Trump because they're not sure what kind of liberal party they have anymore. At least they know what kind of Republican Party and economy that we have. But there's got to be millions of moderates, like right in the middle, that are going, man, what the hell is this? So I think that there's a good chance that this is going to be over easily. But go after your vote. Go vote. Make sure you're voting and understand how critical the Supreme Court nominee will be. And let that, if you're on the fence, I don't know how you could be, but if you are, think about that.
And what about the people out in California maybe voting out Pelosi? Yeah.
I pray, but that is the most liberal section of California, man. They're not. I don't see.
It's like, are any of those people that vote living in that area because they know that it's a shithole?
If they were worth a shit,
Change
they
is
would.
coming, man. Like we were talking about making America great again in 2016. 2020 is 10 times bigger than 2016.
Oh yeah.
And when you got first time ever Republican seats taking place in California for the first time since 2002 or 2004, Nancy Pelosi, man, she's run out of time too, and they all are. She's 1,000 years old. It's about time she ran out of time.
It's going to be by a landslide, folks. I think
wave
this time.
coming in.
I think more than last time. I think all of the Q stuff was ramping up for this election. All the talk of by a landslide. It wasn't. It was great last time, but I think this one has been I think a lot of people have been forced to pay attention. I mean, hell, we had the world shut down.
All right.
That'll do it.
So
That'll
if
do
you're
it.
not, I think we've woke up more every day. I think it's going to be by a
Easy.
landslide.
Surf's up. The wave's coming.
All right, you guys keep educated. We'll see you back here on the next one. These guys will be back. Scott will be back. Zach, thank you, brother. It's always a great show.
Gladly,
Appreciate you.
Gladly,
Yes.
gladly.
And you're welcome back anytime. We'll, whenever you're available again, work with myself. I got you on the socials, media, and Scott as well. You guys see each other, once a week, I'm imagining, or
3
times a week. It's up to that level. Wow.
So,
We're pretty close.
All right. We love all the Patriots. Stay
Peace.
informed.
So it is to the printing press, the recorder of man's deeds, the keeper of his conscience, the courier of his news, that we look for strength and assistance. Without debate, without criticism, no administration and no country can succeed, and no republic can survive.